Ooh, what is going on, people? It has been quite a long little afternoon here, so you're not going to see them right now, but eventually you're going to see a whole bunch of pro wrestling crate videos pop up on this channel here because I just recorded a whole bunch of those, six to be exact, right? So I've been standing here talking for like the last hour about wrestling shirts and videos and all that crap. So yeah, so it's been a long day. It's been a long day, but that doesn't matter a whole lot. One thing that does matter, though, that does matter for sure, definitely matters. Last week, the Kobe Bryant thing, right? Like the helicopter crash and everything, real sad. It definitely was. Now, I don't mean to sound cold hearted or anything, right? But since I wasn't really like a Kobe Bryant guy, like I wasn't watching basketball when he was starting or through any of his career. I don't even know if I ever actually saw him play a single game, right? Other than maybe highlights as I'm like, you know, watching ESPN in some like waiting room somewhere. Yeah, so I don't know that I've ever seen any of him actually play, which is kind of weird in a way. But even though I'm not a fan of him, I mean, the whole event, right? The whole thing that happened, it still sucks, right? Because it's regardless of like what you know of what the person did, it's still, hey, like somebody was out there doing their normal thing that they do and thinking, all right, I'm just gonna go do this thing because I do this all the time, and it ended up being the last thing they did, So it kind of makes you think like you never know what routine thing you might be going through. Sure, some things have a little more like risk involved than others, but even the riskier things, if you do them regularly, you kind of feel like, yeah, you got it, and maybe you don't get complacent, but like you have less fear, right? But regardless, what happened is that he was out there, he's doing something he's done a million times before, and it just didn't go right this time, and that's it, right? Which is crazy. So it makes you think like you got to kind of get out there and make sure whatever it is you are doing, enjoy it while you can, and know that it could be the last time, right? And if it is, one thing that I often think about anyway is like, if I'm not here tomorrow or whatever day, like, what kind of legacy am I going to leave behind? I don't expect to touch millions of lives around the world or billions or however many people his lives like he touched, but I can dang sure have some sort of effect on the people around me, right? So whether you're just like a teller at a bank and you're just like, I don't know, helping people open checking accounts, whatever, complimenting someone on their shirt or their shoes can sometimes go a long way. You can turn their day around or something, right? Or if it's the people in your office, they might think like, like this guy, like, he can't really relate to my problems, but he's always willing to listen, so that's cool. It helps me out in some kind of other way, right? So you get out there, you do something so that people can appreciate when you're gone, right? Anyways, I'm not going to dwell on that. It's just my piece that I wanted to say because it makes sense to say it, right? So there's that. All right, now it is Thursday, Throwback Thursday, as some would say, which is why I'm wearing this here Coliseum video shirt. I was a huge wrestling fan in my younger days, and Coliseum video is how I saw most of those tapes. If you are somebody that watched any old wrestling tapes back from the 90s, maybe 80s, go ahead and comment down below on some of the things that you may have seen because I like to talk about that stuff. Another thing that I like to talk about is shoes, which is why we're actually here. You saw the thumbnail, so you know what we're getting into and all that stuff. It's this box right here, which I believe came from Shiek. I don't order from them a lot. I want to say the last thing that I ordered from them was the Reverse Motorsport 4s or the Away Motorsport 4s, whatever they were called. They were the black ones. They had like a little bit of gray, a little bit of blue. Much better than the standard white ones, like the normal release. Yeah. And I believe I got this for a really good deal because it's one of those things when like it was around the time when Jordans were starting to not sell out all the time. And like you could get these good deals on things. I was like, hey, these are cool looking. I'm gonna get these. And I did, and now I have them out there, over there. So that's something. Now, but this particular pair of shoes though, I wanted these a while ago, and they were everywhere. I could have got them anytime, which kind of makes you wait sometimes, right? Because I saw them and I'm thinking, like, I don't need to get these right now. I'll spend the $60 later, whatever, and I'll get them eventually. And then all of a sudden, they just kind of stopped being around a whole lot. And when I went to the Vans site, because I saw an email, like sometimes I save little draft emails with stuff in it so I can get straight to it. And I go to the link and they're gone. I'm like, well, that sucks. So I go and I'm looking them up, trying to find out what they were. I couldn't remember the color code or anything. Eventually I found them on Shiek. They didn't have my preferred size, but they had a 9.5. So I'm gonna get these. Well, I got these. And I'm going to see how this works out. I'm assuming that they'll fit fine because a 9 is pretty solid, right? But I feel like if I had to go a different size, that going up would be the better one because I don't feel like there's a whole lot of room in there, right? Not a lot of wiggle room for the little toes and such. So we're going to see how this works out. But before we go getting into the on-foots and all that stuff, first things first, got to take the shoes out of the box, kind of look over them, see what we see. All right, so there's one. And there is 2. It's like it's kind of stuck on the side of here for whatever reason. I don't know, it's just kind of a sticky bottom. But anyways, so let's close that. And now, for those of you who do like to see the side of these boxes, right there, I believe that's probably focusing just a little bit, right? And all this says is checkerboard. Yeah, okay, checkerboard era. That's what it says. So I'm gonna set that down there because we do not need it anymore. Gonna look over these 2 shoes, make sure everything's looking like it's supposed to look. I'm feeling pretty good about this as far as the cleanliness and the whatnot of the shoes. Vans have been pretty solid on the quality, so that's always a nice touch. Okay, yeah, just the light, the way the light hit something that looked a little weird. But so we're gonna set this one down. We're gonna go with the right one because that one had that sticker on it. So I believe the color was indigo of some sort. So, ladies and gentlemen, now it is review time on this right here. The Vans Checkerboard Era in indigo. I believe it's indigo. So, I have a couple of these, right? I have the slip-on version of the Blur, and I have the standard tie-up version of the Blur. And now I have this little indigo version of the Blur, right? I believe that's all. Actually, you know what? It's not, because there's a pair of Vans at my mom's house waiting on a review. She'll send it eventually, and I'll review it eventually. But anyway, so these. Another thing, before I get all into this, I was actually just talking to one of the, I don't even know if he's a subscriber or not, doesn't really matter, but he left a comment, so I was talking to him, right? And Sunji, I want to say was his name, and he was saying that Vans are his favorite shoes. He doesn't buy a whole lot. He'll get 1 to 2 pairs at a time, wear them until he can't wear them anymore because that's what Vans are made to do. And I totally get that mindset for Vans because they are very disposable shoes in that sort of way, which is where the price point comes in, right? The whole $60 thing, maybe 65, I forget. But either way, yeah, I was talking to him for a minute, about all that and stuff. Yeah, seemed like a pretty cool dude. So if you're watching this, because I told him I'm gonna happen to put up another Vans video today. So if you're watching this, that's awesome. Go ahead and comment down below. If you're not watching this, then you're not going to see it, and so you won't comment down below. But I still appreciate you for taking a moment to talk to me about the other video, even though it was like super old and all that stuff. You found it, you talked about it, talked to me about it. It's cool. That's cool. So now that that's out of the way, I believe now I can get on to the actual review. So let's do that. Starting here with the bottom. Typical bottom that you see on pretty much all the Vans, at least all the ones that I've seen. So it's just the standard gum bottom style, like the kind of gridded out sort of thing. I hear it's got some good traction on there if you happen to be on a skateboard, which makes sense. But overall, nothing special, but sometimes in simplicity, that's where you just really get it right. That's where you really draw the attention in. And now, moving over to the rest of the midsole. So down here, it's pretty much just your thick white midsole, nothing particularly fancy about it. It's got the same crap on the back, where it's got that little band-aid style thing going on if you look at it from those angles. So there's that, and as usual, if you look at it dead on, it kind of like comes in just a little bit here like that. Not a big deal, it's just something that I noticed. Makes them look somewhat narrow, but overall, not a problem. Moving on to the upper part. So Here, nothing you haven't seen before if you've seen a pair of Vans. This standard checkerboard style, but it's the purple that got me. I like purple. It's one of my favorite colors. And because I knew I'd be opening these today, that's why I'm wearing this purple shirt. Kind of try to match up the shoe with the review, or the shirt with the review. Anyways, moving past that though, just looking at it, it's a standard checkerboard pattern across the toe box. You got this layer of fabric that goes over here. And then it's a plain canvas style for the rest. It's all canvas feel. Plain canvas style all the way back here until you get to the rear around what would kind of be like the heel cup, if you will. And that shows more of the checkerboard style, right? So that's the same thing we talked about on the front, just on the back. So I think it's a pretty solid layout for a shoe. And then I get that the colors may not be for everybody, but they make them in so many that if you like the checkerboard look, you're going to find a color that works for you. That's one of the things that I definitely like about Vans. In a way, it's the same with like Funko Pops. You know, there's a million of them. You may not care for them overall, but if you needed to get a pair, you could find a pair for you. You could. Tell me you can't. Tell me you can't. Anyways, moving on. So the rest of this, you got this typical laces in here. They aren't laced, which sucks because that means I'm going to have to lace these before I actually do the on-foot portion, which kind of sucks because I like to do that seamless transition. Not today. Moving on to the inside. Since this isn't lace, I can kind of open this up just a bit. So there you've got a little bit of, it's kind of like a little leather sort of style going on here, with this white. And that's feeling pretty cushiony on here. You can kind of tell looks like it's showing up. Looks like decent quality leather. I wouldn't say it's amazing, but it's pretty decent, right? And you can kind of tell it's got a little bit of cushion in there for around your heel. So that's good. How much cushion is going to be on the inside and all this? It doesn't have that ultra cushion thing like those corduroy ones that I had, but I'm pretty sure, I mean, their brands are nothing amazing, but they're fine, right? That's all you can say, but I'll get into the feel of the shoe in a moment when I actually do the on-foot portion, because I'll be talking about it and wearing them and all that stuff. Speaking of which, now is the moment where we actually do that on-foot portion, right? So I'm going to take a moment to stop this video so I can get these things laced up, and then we're going to be back in here with some on-foot stuff. So just give me a second. Okay, I am back, and now I have the video going showing you what these shoes are looking like on feet and all that good stuff, while I talk to you about how they feel, right? Because you'll be the judge for yourself of how they look. So one thing I'm going to say right off the top is that these are, like I said, not amazingly comfortable, not uncomfortable either, but you know, it's your typical shoe, right? It's nothing amazing, but I feel like there's a lot worse out there. I mean, I'd still say they feel a lot more comfortable than some Jordans I've put on. So there is that, right? But personal thing. Moving on from that though, like the way the shoes are made, you know, with that sort of a canvas style upper, they do give you a nice little flex where you need it to. I mean, nothing amazing. You know, it's going to take a moment for them to break in as far as like right there above your toe when you're walking and all that stuff. They might feel just a smidge uncomfortable, but not anything that's a deal breaker. It's just something that happens when you have a new shoe. Moving on past that though, the sizing, like I talked about, this is the important part a lot of people like to hear about anyway. So I said that these are a 9.5. I would normally buy a 9. The 9 is my true to size for these. These being a 9.5, they don't feel bad. They feel pretty decent. You know, I can tell there's just a little more room in there, but it's not enough to be weird, right? So like I said before, if you can't find your actual size, go up half a size rather than go down. That is my answer on that. And when I say like I wear a 9 in these, like I wear in other things, these to me, I'd say they fit pretty similar to an Air Max, right? As far as the feel of them goes, the sizing and all that, how much room is in there. So whatever your Air Max size is, you go with that. If you don't happen to have any Vans already and you're not quite sure how they would feel, that's just my suggestion to you. But yeah, past that, again, it's nothing amazing. It's just your typical shoe to throw around, walk around in, like Sunji said, or Suji. I really wish I could remember his name off the top of my head, but I can't. Like he said, it's a good thing to wear when you're out there, just kind of getting them nasty and dirty and all that, because again, for that price point, when they're done, they're done, and you move on, and you can probably get the same ones again. So past that, I don't think that there's really much else to say. So moving on. All right, now that I have said everything that there is to say about this particular shoe, we are going to wrap this thing up, call it a day, give you another little up close look here. Let's pull this tongue out. I don't like how that doesn't really just stay up. That's one thing that I don't like, but it really just doesn't matter. I mean, if you're wearing the shoe, it's going to stay up because your foot's going to be in it, so it doesn't matter. But anyways, that's going to be it for me. You guys out there, have a nice rest of your day or rest of your night, whatever it is, wherever you are. We got some kind of hurricane and possibly tornado things going on down here in the lower right side of Virginia. I don't know, apparently a lot of states do in this region. So I don't know, if you have both, it's going to be like a hurricane, but on land, and that just sounds weird. So either way, we'll see how it goes. Hopefully not terribly, but whatever. All right. I don't have anything else to say. I got some other videos that'll be going up soon. Not a whole lot of shoe related ones until the weekend when I have more time to make those. So it should be, probably will just be those wrestling crate ones. All right, so if you don't watch those, that's fine. I get it. I'll see you when I see you. Later, people.